You gotta get up. But me wake up and make a move. Oh. Cause the world will never see you until you do. They don't really care, see they do you. Oh. So make you show them, baby. Oh yeah, show them the real you. Oh yeah, show them what you get. No, don't let them say what you not. I want you strong, oh. You can't break, no. You want more than 1,000 reasons why. You don't need to perfect, baby. Cause nobody perfect, darling. No, there's nobody in the world. Baby like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you do when you just don't know how you feel? And you know say nobody feel your pain. Hello, cool activity and everybody running for it. Not day by day we dey struggle. For this world you know you must do hustle. Just know that you're not alone. Oh, Benny, no need for you to live for my don't need your trouble. You see, it's okay to ask for help. People go find you, but them not define you. And you'll find people who go help redesign you. People go find you, but them not define you. And you go find people who go help redesign you. See.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Touch Yourself show with Toya the gang. Of course, the gang is not with me. This episode is, or this edition is a special series on online series, or not online. It's a special edition for our online series, and we'll be talking about a very, very important topic that I feel it's very integral during this time of lockdown, COVID-19, self-isolation, and all that. Now, Touch Yourself show is a production of Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative with support from the Public Affairs section of the U.S. Consulate. But now, before I now introduce my guests, I'll bring them on. Hello.
Hey, Auntie. Good to see you.
Sam, good to see you too.
How are you?
We're fine. For some of us who don't know, Coach Sam is a behavioral coach and also a business consultant coach. You just everything. NLP, anger management, and he's also the president of Sam Obafemi Coach Academy. And then we'll also talk about your new initiative later on. Yeah. Thank you for coming on the show. And for those of you who are just joining, we are having Coach Sam on the show, and we're going to be talking about managing emotional and mental health during this lockdown and self-isolation period. So, welcome again. And if you're watching the replay, I welcome you as well. Yeah. So my first question will be, in simple terms, what is emotional and mental health, and how? What are the specific ways that this can affect you during self-isolation?
Okay, lovely. Emotional and mental health is a very fundamental rudiment of our lives.
Yeah.
We are governed by 4 elements at the emotional and mental level. The first thing is that we're always governed by the level of our capacity. There are some things we can do, and there are some things we cannot do. And that is very significant in how we operate our daily lives. The second thing is that we are governed by our capacity for stress. Everybody has his or her coping mechanisms. And so we have our individual methods of coping with our daily stress, daily life stress. The third is that we are all goal setting and goal achieving beings. So there's always the tendency to want to be productive and fruitful. And then the fourth is that we are a communal entity. We believe in relationships. So these four elements are also the definition of mental health according to the World Health Organization. It says that everybody must always check and appraise their capabilities. You must always check and appraise your coping strategies. You must always check and appraise your productivity and fruitfulness. And then you must also ensure that you have healthy relationships that can guarantee that you'll be all right and well. So these are the four things that are cardinal for everybody to maintain a proper mental and emotional well-being.
Connection issues. Okay, we'll go on a break. Back.
You gotta get up. But did me wake up and make a move, oh. 'Cause the world will never see you until you do. They don't really care, see they do you, oh. So make you show them, baby. Oh yeah, show them the real you. Oh yeah, show them what you get. No, 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 don't let them say what you not, I want you strong, oh. You can't break, no. You want more than 1,000 reasons.
Okay, we're back.
Auntie,
yeah, those are the challenges of of tech.
the network is not smiling.
Okay, so we were explaining about. Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you are explaining about the emotional and mental health and how it affects people in isolation.
Yes. Yes. So I was talking about the fact that there are 4 areas that each one of us must monitor. You're responsible to monitor your mental well-being, and there are just some things you cannot do. You need to recognize them. Sometimes we try to be religious. We say, I can do all things through Christ. Well, you have to also be reasonable and understand the boundaries of what you can do and what you cannot do. You know, a typical example is that in this COVID window, for instance, you cannot mingle with people irresponsible of Jesus. Don't be irresponsible. Do you still have me?
Yes, I've been in and out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And just make you, just being responsible and making sure that you take proper measures, develop coping strategies based on what you have the capacity for, and then define what productivity means for you. Productivity for one person cannot be productivity for another person, because I've seen a lot of messages saying, if you come out of COVID and you don't have a new degree, shame on you. All that is irrelevant. Everybody defines their own productivity quotient and their own productivity level. So everybody should determine what is productivity for them. For me, this period, I sleep much later and I wake up much later. And within the remaining time of my being awake, I try to maximize what I do. So productivity is a personal thing, but each person must define what productivity means for them. And then this is when to stay with healthy relationships. Some people are just negative minded, and you must be able to determine that this period is a tough time and is a tough window. You need to protect yourself and stay within all the positive energy you can get, because it's quite a tough period. So basically, that is how to protect your emotional and mental health. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So how you say the effects of stress affects your emotional and mental health, especially because I mean for people with chronic illness, it says that emotional stress can trigger crisis. So why is it that stress? Because the mental, oh, I'm not stressed, I don't have stress, but you find out that when you check the physical health part, something else is what triggered the crisis, not necessarily the physical health part.
Yes, yes. Stress is known in the world today as the number one killer. Stress is the number one killer in the world today. And many times people don't recognize that they are already with our personality. Some are able to withstand stress longer. Some personalities cannot withstand stress longer. For guys who are living with the sickle cell, you even need to be more sensitive to your body and sensitive to your strength, because stress creeps up on you. Stress is not visible. It's not something you see. And stress is something that accumulates over time. So sometimes you feel like you're doing well, you feel you're fine, but it has accumulated over time. And once it's accumulated, it's going to crash your immune system. So stress is unfortunately, stress is also useful. And you can't eliminate stress. You cannot say, I will not feel stressed, or I'm going to delete stress from my body. You can't. It's part of our life. So you need to aspire to regulate stress. You must regulate stress so that you don't allow it overwhelm you and break you down. Now, the most important advice I normally give people with respect to stress is that you must save yourself from yourself. Save yourself from yourself. And which goes directly in line with the definition of mental health. There are some things you don't have the capacity to see. Don't see it. A typical example, every night NCDC announces new numbers of infected people and dead people and discharged people. Some people don't have the capacity to see those figures real life, because it's going to add to your stress. It's going to make you more anxious and more disturbed. So when you don't have the capacity to see NCDC figures, don't go looking for the information you don't have the capacity for. When you know you don't have the capacity to hear some kind of information, don't go hearing and gossiping and backbiting and looking for information that does not concern you. So save yourself from yourself. Some people, Auntie Tony, when the lockdown started, the first lockdown of the president, somebody told me that he has stocked his fridge with alcohol and beer. That he's going to drink himself to stupor because he doesn't want to think about this period. Now, that is someone who doesn't want to save himself from himself, because he's going to be drinking. It's not everything in this period you will eat and drink and touch. You must be able to protect yourself. So stress, for me, you have to regulate it. You must recognize your empowering strategies to cope with stress and save yourself from yourself. It's very important.
But is there a way, now you're talking about regulating, is there a way of measuring stress?
Well, yes, there are subtle ways to measure stress. One of the ways to measure stress is the things you normally have interest in doing. You realize that you are losing interest. Maybe you normally love to read, you find that you are not interested in reading, you find yourself sleeping too long or losing sleep. When you lose sleep, it can be stress. You find yourself eating too much or losing your appetite, that is stress signs. You find yourself wanting to have more sex, or you're even avoiding sex for those who are married. That's why you see that they are fighting all over the place saying you don't want to sleep with me. That can be stress related. So stress comes in different, and then there are physiological signs like headaches, like palpitations, like skin outbreaks, migraines, eye pains, tension on your calf and ankles and waist. These are different stress signs that people must pay attention to. So yes, once you start to notice that what is not normal is happening to you, it can be a sign of stress and you need to slow down.
Okay. All right. I know that with stress, you have your what you call internal stress, and internal are those that you can technically control. But how do you control those that are external? You just talked about the situation of a couple. I mean, sometimes you cannot control what a person thinks or your environment. So how do you manage it so that it doesn't overwhelm you?
The way to manage external stress is the interpretation you give it. If you see something as a stressor, it will stress you. If you see something as a challenge, your mind is open to tackling it. So it all depends on the definition you give it. If you see a situation or a person or an event or an outcome as something that is giving you problem, it becomes a problem. So tackling external stress is a mindset thing. It depends on the, on the definition you give it, and you need to be able to ramp up your definition. So when you want to manage external stress, the first place to start from is, what am I defining this thing to be to me? What does this thing mean to me? How is it a problem for me? And once you can define it, then you can ask yourself, how can I overcome or surmount this definition or redefine what it is to me? That's the way you can regulate external stress.
Okay. All right. Speaking of stress and emotional health, what are practical steps that people can do to check their emotional and mental health during this period?
Okay, great. The first thing is, so there's an acronym called ALGE, ALGEE, that I'm going to quickly read out. We call it the action plan of the World Health Organization on coping with mental health, and of course, inclusive of stress.
Okay.
The A of ALGE says, assess yourself for self-harm and harm to other people. Assessment, ASSESS. And what that means is that you need to constantly check yourself. Am I treating myself in ways that are harming me? Or am I treating people in ways that will harm them? Like I talked about the guy drinking alcohol, that was self-harm. When you're taking too much substance, that's self-harm. You're having too much sex, that's self-harm. You're eating too much, that's self-harm. You're drinking too much, that's self-harm. You're mingling with people when you don't even know their health condition with respect to COVID, that is self-harm. So assess yourself for harm to yourself or to other people. The L is that you need to listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your emotions without judging yourself.
Okay. Okay. All right. Got into network issue.
Are we back?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good.
We can hear. Yes, we're back.
Should I continue?
We're good to go.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So listen to yourself without judging yourself. It is given that this period, people will do crazy things. There are many things that will cross your mind that you have never thought of. And you would find yourself trying to create different scenarios of how to cope. So you need to just recognize that things will not be absolutely the same, and you must listen to your body. Listen when your body is saying, I'm tired. Listen to when your mind is drifting. Listen to when you are moody. Listen to when you are excited. Listen to your emotions, practically speaking, so that you can ask yourself, is this a normal emotion or is it abnormal? If it is normal, that's fine. If it is abnormal, you need to ask yourself, what must I do to resolve this? That's very important. The next is G. G is that you need to give yourself reassurances and the right information. That is G. You must be able to ensure that you don't open yourself up to wrong information or information that will work you up or information that will put you under pressure. Some weeks ago, when the issue of 5G, 5G or 5G is COVID, hey, 5G is anti-crowd, all that. You know, somebody will say, Coach Sam, what's your take? I say, I'm not interested in talking about it. I'm not interested in researching about it. You people just leave me alone. So I don't put myself in a situation where I become anxious and worked up. I don't do that. So that is for G. The first E is you need to explore professional support or professional help. And what that means is that you need to be able to say, okay, at this point, I can't help myself. What I'm going through now is overwhelming. I need support. And then you now go out and ask who can support. So you can call Antitoni, you can call Soccer, you can call Sami, you can call any organization that can support you. So explore professional support. And then the last E is encourage yourself to help yourself. Encourage self-help. You must grow over time. It's not everything that you need someone to call you and support you on. Sometimes take the task and support yourself, help yourself. As simple as taking your smartphone, pick your smartphone, play music. It will get your mind off, any self-destructive patterns. Call someone that loves you or that you love. Have a conversation. Go on a website that is encouraging. Listen to affirmations. Go on YouTube, watch something interesting. If you have a Netflix account, watch a movie. Just get yourself really, moving. Don't just get stuck there and say, I'm dead or Motiko, somebody that killed you. So you just need to understand, that you need to help yourself, because if you don't help yourself, there's a limit to what anybody can do for you, basically.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. During this lockdown, many people have complained about the disruption of sleep patterns. How can we address this issue? I know for me, on my sleep pattern, if I have to tell myself, I have to start doing as if I'm going to work in the morning, so you don't get to the work actually starts. So you find yourself getting back. So how do we address this?
Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. One thing people should understand is just go with the flow. Go with the flow. Because the thing is that because of the way the situation is, we sleep late. I, for one, for instance, it's difficult for me to even sleep. It's difficult for me to sleep now. It's difficult for me to sleep before 2 a.m. because no matter how much I try to sleep early, I still cross that 12 midnight mark, 1 a.m., almost 2 a.m. Yesterday I slept at about 4 a.m. The thing I've told myself is, for every time I sleep late, I will wake up late. I must have those hours of sleep. What matters is that you have the number of hours of sleep that your body requires. So don't force yourself to say, oh, I used to wake up 6 o'clock before. I must maintain that 6 o'clock. No, that's why we say listen to your body. Listen to your body. If your body is asking for sleep, go and sleep. If your body is awake and agile, stay awake and do what you can do with that awakeness. Instead of forcing yourself to go and sleep and you're counting the ceilings and tossing to and fro and turning and drinking water and drinking water. So allow yourself, go with the flow to your body, and you'll realize that you'll be fine. Don't force anything.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, you're back. All right. Okay. Are there any when we talk about this self-isolation? I know by next week things are going to be going on, quote unquote, as semi-normal. But there are situations where people with pre-existing conditions like us, especially those who have more challenge than others, still have to self-isolate.
Yes.
So in this process of continuous self-isolation, are there any adverse effects? And what can one do so that it doesn't if there's any, so that it doesn't affect us as it would.
Okay, good. Before I answer, I want to respond to the issue of the gradual release on gradual ease of lockdown. In my personal opinion, I think it is premature. I wish that we could explore other means, because this, I know that people are hungry, people need money, but the numbers are not.
That's what.
So in my personal capacity, I have a feeling that there may be a reversal of that instruction, but I don't know. Hopefully things will turn out well. But for everybody who is going to have an elongated lockdown or isolation, the following things are very important. Number one, increase your physical activity. Don't stay in one place. Increase your physical activity. You should make sure that you are not just sitting in one place, pressing your phone and locking down, just watching TV in one position. No. Increase your physical activity. Very, very important. Number two, increase your communal activity. Increase your interaction with people. It's very important. So every day you can pick 2-3 people that you're going to be engaging. 2-3 people every day, different people if you want. If you don't have the same cycle or you don't have a unique set of friends, determined to engage new people. So this period, I've reached out to people I've not contacted in a while.
Yeah, same here. Exactly.
I've sent messages, I've called some, I've chatted some, I've reactivated several relationships that have been sleeping. What that has done for me is that I have had more engagement that has engaged my mind. So you need to do that. Then the third thing is start something. Some of you say you want to write books, write a book. Some of you say you want to write a song, write a song. You can start a course, you can do a program, you can anything, just start something that you own. If it means even learning a new skill, there are several online free courses that you can afford to join. I know some people say, well, I don't have money for data and all that, but where there's a graphics this window, I want video editing, I want to learn public speaking, I want to learn how to write an ebook. Just learn something. It will occupy
things,
your mind a lot this period.
All right. One of the challenges of people expressing themselves when they have mental health is that sometimes, or they say, men find it difficult to complain about mental health issue. How do you advise them to express themselves?
Well, the data, research actually proves otherwise. Men actually express themselves.
Oh, really?
The thing is that they don't express themselves they don't express themselves the way women do, but they do. So a man would rather express himself to a fellow man or to a lady that he feels vulnerable with. So the usual quarters people expect men to go to, they won't go there. So a typical example, people expect that a man should go and meet a therapist and say, I have a problem, I want to fix the problem. When a man is expressing himself, he's actually fixing his problem by himself.
Okay.
So a man does not necessarily express to get help like women do. Women express to get help. Men express to get it out of their chest because they are strategizing on the way forward. So what I think is that people should be more available for men to be vulnerable to them. That is my take. Because many times men lock up when they feel that I told you what is my issue, and then you just treated it with, anyhow. So for me, I've seen more of insecurity in men because their vulnerabilities are not handled properly. But men actually speak out.
Well,
yes.
Okay. All right. Now, in this time of isolation, there's been a lot of cases of domestic violence, especially when people all have to stay in one place continuously for a long time. Before you go out to work, come back, go out, come back. Now there was a period that everybody were in the house, so a lot of emotions were erupting, as it were. So how do we manage these situations like this, especially when you're caged together in one place for a long period of time?
Well, thank God that in our age and time, the response to domestic violence has really improved compared to before. So once a person, whether it's male or female, whether you're a husband or wife, the moment you're a victim of physical, domestic, either assault or violence, you must report. There are phone numbers to call. There are social media reach out so that you can be taken away from that vicinity. It is while you are alive that you can resolve a marriage or a relationship. So the first step is to make sure that once there is an occurrence of violence, aspire to leave that environment by escalating the problem. That is the first step. The second step is every trigger that you are aware of that leads to violence, if you can, avoid the triggers. Because every abuse starts from a trigger. And most times, it takes two to tango. It's very easy to blame the woman. Is that what?
Can you explain the trigger? Because for our audience, they don't understand what trigger is.
Yes. Okay, fine. So it's easier to blame the woman and say, it's because you said so. That's why the man did so. And it's easier to blame the man and say, it's because you did this one, that the wife did that one. So a trigger can be an utterance, can be a behavior, can be a habit, can be any action or inaction. That's a trigger. Any action or inaction that probably leads to violence is a trigger. So, provided you know the trigger that leads to violence against you, it is also within your responsibility to avoid the trigger. Because sometimes a man is abused or a woman is abused because they actually triggered the behavior. While the violence is not justifiable, the trigger too should not be activated. So it takes two to tango. In very rare cases would you find that one person just wakes up, comes to you and starts beating you just like that. In very, very rare cases, maybe lunacy. So it takes both parties. Yeah, it takes both parties to say, you know what? I find that when I say something like this, he or she does something like this. So I will not say it in this way. I will say it in a different way. That way, somehow, there probably can be an of violence. Please try to leave that vicinity immediately. That is very important.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So next week people are coming out. You've already made the comment about how you're not sure about this thing, and I'm sure what happened is that the government looked at the fact that a lot of people are hungry and they don't want to avoid riots and all that stuff to open it. But how do allay fears of many people who are worried about the future after all this? Because there's so much information about, people may lose their job, the economy is bad. I was saying something today, the person was saying, everybody should just go and buy dollar, that the dollar is going to be like Zimbabwe and all. There's so much negative information. So how do you allay people's fears?
Nigeria is not alone in this crisis. It's a global problem. So Nigeria's situation is not going to be really different per se. Secondly, the issue of losing of jobs, whether the government relaxes the lockdown or not, jobs will be lost by virtue of the recession globally. Jobs will be lost. That is certain. But the issue of fears, the thing is that what will happen is already happening. It will take a while. But I want your viewers to know that there is a blessing in disguise from this crisis. What matters now is for everybody to ask themselves, what do I have that is value that I can exchange any day, anytime? I have a job or I don't have a job. Because some good guys will lose their job. That's just the truth. So, and it's not because the boss wants to sack you, it's just that the business cannot afford it. So, so the point we made here is you need to tap into yourself. What do I have that is a bargaining chip, whether I'm in a job or I'm not in a job? If I lose my job, what can I trade in terms of intellectual property or knowledge or skill or capacity that can earn me a revenue? Everybody needs to actually go back to their drawing board and re-strategize for themselves. It's very, very important.
Exactly. All right. So as people go out next week, from your own point of view, what are the mental outlooks? What will it be like? Hello, Coach Sam, are you with us? Okay, did you hear what I said? I think you froze a bit.
Hello, Auntie.
Okay, all right. While we're preparing for that question, if you have any questions, please post it on our Facebook page or our IG live stream, Facebook or IG live. Okay, Coach Sam, you're back. Can hear you.
So there's going to be a lot of manic issues, paranoia, fear, anxiety, and anger too. There's going to be a lot of anger. There's going to be a lot of emotional rush anyway. So what I would advise is everybody look out for yourself. First and foremost, look out for yourself. Protect yourself. If you have to leave your house, protect yourself the best way you can. You can't be too careful. Just do the best you can. Simple. That's number one. Number two, show empathy. Show empathy. Because you may be the saving grace of the person sitting just next to you. Show empathy.
Exactly.
It's very important. That's number two. And then number three, just once you've done the best you can, just let things go with the flow. What you can control. What you cannot control, just go with the flow, basically. So if it's within your control to negotiate a work at home with your own employer, do it. Instead of saying, well, the government said, it's not the government that is going to. So once you can negotiate working from home with your employer, take advantage of it. If it is not doable, then you recognize that you just do the best you can. So that's my advice.
Okay. Thank you so much. So do we have any questions? Looking through, we have questions. Okay. All right. In the meantime, I was still expecting questions. You just launched, if I remember what it's called, Dream a Coach, right? Diary of a Coach. So can you explain to us what it's about and how we can help people with their just basic mental health and everything other thing?
Yeah. Thank you, Atitoyi. So for the last 1 year, from April 1st, 2019, I was running a diary on Facebook Live for 1 whole year. Every morning at 8:30, we'd go live on Diary of a Coach on Facebook. It was a very interesting journey, and it was we talked about basically lifestyle, mental health, business, coaching, employee behavior, employer behavior, finance, religion, spirituality, politics, government, governance, a whole range of topics, basically. So after 1 year, we decided to take it a notch higher by, developing an online community where it's subscription-based. So the Diary of a Coach is now a subscription-based online community, and it's so affordable because with just 300 naira, you can enjoy the subscription for one whole week and have access to all the videos between April 18th of this year and the day you subscribe. So what that means is that anybody that subscribes has access to all the videos before the day they subscribe up to the end of their subscription. And it's so affordable because, 300 naira for 1 week, 1,000 naira for 1 month, 2,000 naira for 3 months, 4,850 for 6 months, and only 9,500 naira for 1 whole year. Now, the 1 year subscription, I also give an exclusive e-pass to my e-library where you can read all the 10 books. You know, I've published 10 books. So all the annual subscribers, all the annual subscribers have access to all the e-books for free. And then you also have 1 month to give anybody that you want. So annual subscribers are like the biggest winners. They're like the winner takes all. But it's such a powerful community that I'm very proud my team was able to put together, and we're giving a gift to the world because we have hosted in the last 10 days now. We have hosted different big names on Diary of a Coach. Now it's an interview format. So we have hosted almost several big names, local and international, on different topical issues: mental health, protecting your child's mental health, developing business processes, how to grow a startup, how to run manufacturing in Nigeria. So different topics, how to sell and sell out. So it's a very powerful community to belong to, and I'm proud of my team for what we have done.
Okay, we have a question here. Says Abayomi says, how do people manage their personal resources in this time? And it's a good question because I know that there's a tendency to spend more this time.
It's a good question. So the question is, you need to determine what are luxuries and what are essential commodities.
Yes.
You cannot avoid the essential commodities. I consume 10,000 naira power in barely 6 days or 7 days now. I've even lost count of how much I spend on data. So there are essential commodities. There are essential commodities you cannot run away from. But there are things that you don't need now. They're just enjoyment. Leave those ones. So how to manage your personal resources is the commodities, even the essential commodities. Sometimes you may have to cut down on some things and make some sacrifices. So essential commodities, you can cut down on them. Essential commodities, you cannot cut down on. Focus your resources on those ones. Then luxuries and all those enhancements and enjoyments that are not necessary, suspend them for now. You don't need that because you don't know how long this is going to go on for. And of course, everybody's revenue has really crashed. So just take it one step at a time.
Okay. All right. I remember someone was asking, person was saying that she's facing a lot of anxiety and her body shakes and all that. What do you suggest the person does? I know a lot of times people face anxiety. So what should they do at that moment? Should they go and seek professional help, or there's something that they can help themselves do?
So every time you feel anxious to the point where your body is vibrating, it's a function of what you're thinking at that time, basically. Because our body responds to our thoughts. Our body, the vibration you are feeling in your body is a hormonal reaction to what your thoughts were. So your thoughts triggered your emotions, and your emotions triggered your hormones. If you want to calm down, you have to go back to your thoughts and say, what am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking that this thing I may contract it. I'm thinking I'm afraid. My money may finish. My food may finish. Once you accommodate those thoughts, it is natural that your anxieties will go up. So the first thing you want to task yourself is interrupt your thinking, interrupt your self-talk. This thing is a lot of work because sometimes when I tell people, grow how to reduce your anxiety, they sound like I'm talking about some prayer that just magically happen. It's not magic. You have to work at it. So you must practice you must practice how to think positively. You must practice how to interrupt your negative thinking. There are other external ways you can support yourself. For instance, register for yoga. There are several, even is even an episode on Diary of a Coach, how to use yoga in this period. And so subscribers will have access to it. It's part of the videos. But even if you don't subscribe to Diary of a Coach, there are several yoga instructions on the internet. Practice yoga to be able to calm your nerves down. Practice listening to music. Practice undergoing or undertaking physical routines like fitness activities. Practice selecting the movies you watch. Practice placing calls and interacting with more people. Practice drinking water a lot. Practice. So there are several things to practice. When your anxiety is increasing, it's because you have sat down and you are ruminating and regurgitating on your negative thoughts. The anxiety cannot go down like that. But you must be proactive in fixing your thoughts. That way it can help you.
All right. Thank you so much. We've had a loaded day. Thank you for taking time out to come and share with us. I know you're very busy. Even in the lockdown, you're still busy. And I want to thank all our Facebook viewers for watching, and those on IG, thank you for watching as well, and on YouTube. Continue next week. And remember, this is a production of Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative, and it's supported by the public affairs section of the US Consulate. Till next week, stay safe, stay calm, and stay positive. Bye bye, Coach Sam. Bye, everybody.
God bless you, ma.
God bless you too.